Mr. Martin, his face is red. Yeah, his face is red. Well, I'm saying this one, I'll check. But please, are you seeing? That's not the video. Yeah, but I've started this. Where is he? Let's see.
Go to start video. Okay, start video. There's some calm.
Okay, so let me talk to the guy. Maybe he has to think that. So, okay.
Yeah, so nobody's on the video. Everybody's there. Okay. So they started coming in, but you have to, I think everybody's video is off. So you can log on again, let's start. But Professor Carr has to start, he starts. So let's go.
Hello, Daddy.
Hi guys, how are you?
Very well.
We're waiting for Professor Mahamadou Carr to start the program, so he'll be there in a few minutes.
I see my video, I think.
Prof, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Very good.
Do we have everybody on, or are we still waiting for some people?
So I guess we can wait for about 2 more minutes and then we just kickstart the program.
Okay.
So maybe in about 2 minutes, and then we're ready to go.
Okay.
I'm seeing some very exciting faces already.
Hello, Ashim.
Yes, Clifford, how are you?
Very well. Yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good.
Beautiful.
Hello, Prof.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you, Prof?
We thank God.
Yes,
It's good to see you guys up there.
Yes, excited to have you.
Certainly.
So I believe what is going on is that we've muted everybody, and in 2 minutes, I think Professor Carr will start off, and then we will unmute people as we keep going. So I think, Prof, you will start in the next 2 minutes. How's that?
Okay, that's fine.
That's good. So we have another 2 minutes, and we're counting down. 1 second. Okay. Okay, Prof, so I think we're ready to go.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I take this opportunity to welcome all participants on this Zoom session. I will run through a perspective, a very brief perspective on the theme today. But before I do that, I want to say that I'm humbled and honored to moderate this theme, Enhancing the Frontiers of Youth Opportunity Through Innovation and Scalability. This inaugural series, we are joined by distinguished and leading personalities and leadership from a diversity of areas. Our distinguished speakers will share very unique perspectives and insights on enhancing the frontiers of youth opportunity through innovation and scalability in Africa broadly. So I'm honored to be your moderator once again. My name is Mohamedou Ka. I would share some backdrop perspectives on the theme. The literature have informed us that estimates of young people between 15 and 24 years of age is about 1.21 billion and account for 15.5% of the global population. We also know that projections have suggested that the youth population will reach 1.29 billion, 1.29 billion, which is roughly 15.1% of the world total by 2030. And we know that almost 1.34 billion by 2050, which is about 13.8% of the overall population. Also, the recent statistics from various sources suggest that the rate of population growth remains very high in a group of about 47 countries that are designated by the United Nations as least developed countries. Among these 47 countries where we are experiencing or going to experience continuing population growth, 32 countries are in sub-Saharan Africa. which also have the youngest age distribution in global terms. So with an average growth of about 2.3% annually, estimated from 2015 to 2020 this year, the total population of the least developing countries is growing or has grown at the rate of about 2.5 times faster than the total population of the rest of the world. We also have been informed that for these countries as a group, the number of youths aged 15 to 24 years is expected to rise from 207 million in 2019 to 336 million in 2050. So young people between the ages of 15 and 35 constitute 1/3 of Africa's population. However, these youths, this large population of youths, that is the majority of our population in the continent and in each country, unfortunately, have very limited influence when it comes to politics, when it comes to legislation, when it comes to charting the future of the destination and prosperity of their countries and across Africa. And indeed, they also have limited influence to the engines of economic growth, such as entrepreneurship. And more importantly, you hardly find them around the tables where decisions are charted for the collective destiny of our peoples. A number of indicators also suggest that the precarious situation and unfulfilled potential of this huge bulge that is growing of global youth, but African youth, national youth, with regards to socioeconomics, is mostly given lip service. We also know that structural barriers make it hugely difficult to improve these indicators. Our countries, whether it is in Ghana or the Gambia or Senegal or Nigeria, have continuously experienced slow economic growth and economic development. Most of it could have been avoided and could still be avoided if we have the right leadership, the right expertise, the right experiences, and the right attention and attitude to engagement and involvement of youths and women to harness their infinite potential and creativity and exuberance and energy. We also know that the persistent and wide-ranging challenges that are faced with this highest segment of our population urgently necessitates a very comprehensive, practical, doable development strategy that shifts from the rhetoric and the normal theories of development strategies for our economies, which involves a concerted effort by all countries to revisit what development means. Most of these youths, with the statistics I have shared, resides in rural communities across Africa, across our countries. So the neglect of rebuilding infrastructure and revitalization of the rural economy continue to add to the burden and the frustration and the lack of optimizing utilization of the potentials of the youth and to map it to enhancing opportunities and innovations for them. Most of the youths are lazing around and loitering around streets and corridors across our countries, frustrated their potential and their exuberance and energy wasted and mostly used as tools by politicians because there is a sudden realization that they have power, they have a voice, they have authority. But most of the time, they are not reflected in the agenda to improve their livelihoods. So today, as we will hear from our diverse speakers today, they will share thoughts and insights on how we can disrupt development models and how we can begin to move the youth population into value-created activities around or across strengthening of value chains and ecosystems. We know that the youths are excited and interested and creative and leading the way in emerging technologies and stepping into the ecosystem of social entrepreneurship. But are we enhancing this new frontier of the disruptions of emerging technologies and providing the necessary education, the necessary competencies, the necessary mentorships, the necessary financing to ensure that we broaden this new frontier and leverage the opportunities brought in by these emerging technologies and harnessing youth social entrepreneurship and creating an entrepreneurship ecosystem that pulls the youth and provides support in a non-cosmetic way, but in a much more substantive way. We will hope to hear from our colleagues to move us to the increasing frustration of unemployment that is driving our youths to not see the infinite opportunities that are right in front of them in their countries across Africa, but frustrated enough to take a boat and risk their lives across the Mediterranean with thousands and thousands dying all the time. We hope that our speakers will also provide insights on how we can reach out to the creativity of this amazing population of youths and channel them to value-creating activities that will provide jobs or that will help them create jobs that they can not only meet their livelihoods, but have a better hope and dignity. How can we harness the emerging technologies and leapfrog and pull into this natural interest, which is an equalizer for them globally, to be competitive and be amongst the producers of technologies and services rather than be consumers of these emerging technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence or machine learning or decision sciences or bioinformatics or biotechnologies, so that our youths can be prepared better to turn these creations and use our natural resources for value creations that will generate and create employment and wealth. How can we move these youths on innovations in agriculture for sustainable food systems that not only provide adequate food, quality foods for better health across the continent, driven by the youths, using smart agriculture and having products that are of high yield to feed into global value chains for wealth creation. These are just some thoughts that I wanted to throw as a backdrop before we hear from our colleagues. Now I will also introduce what the Millennium Excellence Foundation is. The Millennium Excellence Foundation has an objective to recognize and confer the highest honor to distinguished personalities in Ghana and across the African continent for leadership and contributors that selflessly dedicated to excellence in a diversity of fields. Over the past 2 decades, the Millennium Excellence Foundation has recognized personalities of highest repute across the continent. I will just name a few: Archbishop Desmond Tutu, late Dr. Kofi Annan, Professor Wole Soyinka, Nobel laureate, Dr. Tony Ilomilo of the Ilomilo Foundation, founder of UBA Bank, and a champion of youths on entrepreneurship across the continent. Mo Ibrahim, who is a champion of governance and leadership and economic development across the continent. President Cyril Ramaphosa, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and entrepreneur and business tycoon Tokyo Sexwale. These are just a few recipients of the Millennium Excellence Award who have been recognized. The Millennium Excellence Award is Ghana's most prestigious award given to non-governmental organizations. This Millennium Excellence Award is seen to be the equivalent to the European Nobel Prize, with distinguished laureates they associate her vision with. The life patron of the foundation is His Excellency, His Royal Majesty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the King of the Ashanti Kingdom in Ghana. Ambassador Ashim Morton confers with His Royal Majesty the Asante hand to pursue the diversity of initiatives that contributes to the upliftment of humanity across Ghana and across the continent. I am honored and proud to mention to all of you that I am a governor of the Millennium Excellence Foundation, among other leaders across the continent. Now allow me to also introduce to you the founder and president of the Millennium Excellence Foundation, Ambassador Ashim Morton. He drives the vision of the foundation and is supported by several executives and advisors on a daily basis, and at the governance level have a board of governors who are drawn across the continent. He serves on the board of the World Trade Center, Red Cross, the Exwaki Institute, Global Haulage, Millennium Marathon, and many, many others across the continent. Ambassador Morton is an avid believer in the education and upliftment of youth across Africa and to optimize their potential for creative pursuits and wealth creation and impact to societies and their communities, and to be part of defining and charting their future through leadership. He believes that the future of Africa lies in this huge population of youth of Africa and have not been given the rightful place during decisions and policy making. He believes that African youth must engage amongst themselves, nationally, regionally, and in their communities and across the continent and globally, and come up with futuristic policies required for the safety and well-being of the future generation. We're proud to have Ambassador Ashim Morton as our founder and president. And now I will yield to him to give a perspective further on the team and introduce our distinguished participants who will shortly take a minute to share with us insights and perspectives on our theme today, which is enhancing the frontiers of youth opportunity through innovation and scalability. Ambassador Morton, the floor is yours. And I thank you all and look forward to the exchanges.
Wonderful presentation, Professor Carr. I was very excited to hear from you today. And I think it's very important for everybody to know what a distinguished man that we have, who is the moderator and the host of this important session. So before I go on, I think it'll be fine for me to also let those who are with us today know who Professor Muhammadu Carr is. Now, Professor Carr serves as the founding chairman of Zenith Bank in the Gambia. He was recently appointed as the chairman of the board of directors of the Africa Consulting and Trading Group, Dakar in Senegal, and is a member of the recently launched Africa-Europe Strategic Task Force on Sustainable Agriculture and Food Systems by the Friends of Europe. He's also the founder and the chairman of a startup, Camsys Technology, located in the Gambia. Professor Carr is the vice president of the academic affairs and provost and professor of the information technology and computing at the American University in Nigeria. He also serves as the vice rector for technology and innovation, professor and founding dean of the School of Information Technology and Engineering in Azerbaijan. In corporate governance, he is also completing the highly reputable International Directors Program as an internationally certified director for INSAID, Singapore. Now, Professor Carr is also a member of the Institute of Directors based in London. So we are very pleased to have you here with us today. You have a very rich history and a wonderful CV that I will encourage all members of this Zoom session to go out and read a little bit about who you are and what you've done for the youth of Africa. Now, I'm also very pleased to welcome quite a number of distinguished men and women who will be speaking shortly. And I hope that everybody will give us a very short brief on what the theme is all about. I am happy to introduce to you Engineer Nana Pokuajiman, who is also on the session with us today. He works very closely with the Asante Hini, His Royal Majesty Otunfo Osetutu at the Manshire Palace. He's here with us. I also have to introduce to you Thomas Bayfi, who is the CEO of Bay Systems, or Bay Systems. Sapnamuki, who is the CEO and founder of Bindu Travels. We also have Clifford Metal, who is a financial consultant. We also have Charlotte Baidu, who is also a financial consultant and former managing director of the Women's World Bank. We also have Reverend Lawrence Stetter, who is with us. Miss Eunice Nyadu, who is the CFO of the Margins Group. Mukesh Takwani, who is the founder and CEO of the B5 Plus Group. We also have Manessa Azuri, one of our distinguished investigative journalists. Bright Simmons, who's the founder of Pedigree, very exciting young man, and you all should read about him. Dr. Kester Quist Afechi, who is a global scientist. Skofre Yeboah, who is a motivational speaker, is doing very well within the continent. Hikma Dua, Hyginus Larry, and other very interesting speakers on our group session today. So as we continue, I think our host will call them one at a time to also contribute to this lively session. So welcome all of you. If I haven't mentioned your name, it is not that I haven't seen you. I want us to focus on what the theme is all about. So here we are, and welcome. Thank you very much, Professor Carr.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Ashim, for introducing our distinguished speakers. I equally welcome all other participants. We value you taking the time to join us this afternoon, and we hope that this will be many, many more opportunities for all of us to engage further. Now I will call on Ambassador Ashim Morton to briefly share some perspectives with a short presentation. Ambassador Morton, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. And before I call on Engineer Nana Poku to say a few words, let me start off by talking about the UN population data. Africa's population is on the rise and currently hovering around 1.3 billion with a median age of 19 years, and it is made up of 60% of the youth, which makes Africa the continent with the youngest population. Let me repeat that. 60% of the youth makes Africa the continent with the youngest population in this world. The information dovetails into that of Ghana's population, which also mirrors the above insight by the United Nations. In 2017, 30% of our youth population were either not in education, unemployed, or training. This particular information presents a very sharp, double-edged sword, meaning that it poses both an opportunity and a threat at the same time. What will set them apart is the kind of intervention that will be put in place to harness the opportunity and potentials it is embedded with, or the staggering reality of challenges such population percentage poses. The information, as is mentioned, creates an opportunity for the youth and for us to enhance and explore through innovation with a viable forecast of scalability. I will borrow the ideas strategy of the Harvard University as a strategic tool to aid us to enhance the frontiers of youth opportunities through innovation and scalability. So number one, the youth are our greatest assets, and they must be empowered to be innovative and to identify opportunities in the challenges that have engulfed them. Number two, we must collectively, as the private and public sector, develop a strategic and implementable program which has requisite funding and logistics. This will create continuity and measurable ways to monitor their progress. Number three, there must be a robust evaluation and monitoring system in place to make sure investments injected into the innovative drive of our youth will yield results. Number four, we must encourage our youth to adapt to the emerging frontiers of technology and they're appropriated for their development legitimately. We live in a gloriously awesome era, the digital age of the information superhighway, and it's about to get exponentially awesome as quantum technology-driven theories become a digital reality. It will no longer be bricks and mortar or government service contracts that will generate wealth for you. It will be the banking sector, the micro fintech sector, and the rich media-driven telecoms and technology sector that will drive wealth creation for you. The youth presents such a powerful population of psychographic advantage of scalability, whether in terms of manpower, human resource, and market segmentation. Our youth are the golden eggs, and hence we have to harness. The world is inching up on the 6th industrial revolution, and we cannot be left behind. Major economic powers are exploring the high intelligence of Generation Z. We can do the same by deploying the ideas I have just shared, whilst creating a linkage between policymakers and innovation drivers, learn from best practices, and not to try to reinvent the wheel to solve our challenges. Finally, we must be deliberately leverage the potentials of our youth today. My advice to our young leaders on this session and around the continent, I want to advise you about this. Technology must be incorporated in almost all business ventures for your future businesses to compete with each other, to thrive, and to be successful. So this is my short presentation. I would like to defer back to President Muhammad Akkad to then call on some other very distinguished men and women to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Asim, for those very, very insightful and wonderful perspectives that is worth noting. And I hope that our participants are taking notes, and during the Q&A sessions, they may be able to engage you further. Now, I will now go to the segment where we will listen to those that have the insight, those that have the leadership, those that have the experience, who have been there and have done that, to take a moment and share with us their deep perspective and insights around the topic. And I'm sure many youths will benefit from what your contributions are. And if you can do us a favor and be brief in this short round, and if we have time, we can come back to you. I'm not sure who is on the panel now, but I will be calling names at random. And if you are, you can just unmute, or I think I have the capability to unmute you. I'm going to ask Grace Ami Obeng, the chair of the foundation, to have the microphone. Grace, you can proceed.
So I don't think Grace is here now, so I think we can move on to...
Grace is not, if Grace is not, I will ask Ms. Eunice Nyado if she's on. If Eunice is not on yet, we can ask Moses.
Can you hear me?
Is Eunice on?
Yes, Eunice is here.
Eunice, welcome, and you have the microphone. You are welcome, thank you.
Thank you. It's a good background that you have given as the reasons why the youth on the continent need a lot more opportunities than currently exists to be able to stay relevant in the global economy. I also want to just add that there are just about maybe a few things that we need. Okay. You want me to start my video? Sure. I just wanted to be sure that the network would be stable, so I turned it off. Sorry. Okay. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Okay, so as a continent, we need to invest in education, and not education as we have known it in the past. Education that is able to enable the youth to scale up and be useful unto themselves as entrepreneurs, starting something. And then when you get employment, your skills are easily transferable. Our educational system is lagging behind the needs of modern day business. And that is why we would continue to see a lot of people not having or getting the employment that they need, because what they have spent a disproportionate amount of time learning is not needed, or there's a glut of that knowledge or that skill, there's a glut. So nobody really needs that. But because we are not using the data to inform our educational setup and structures, we just continue to churn out people or graduates into the system and they get frustrated. We need to improve our educational system. It's that the quality is low. Even when people have gone through the system, the ability to think and solve problems is very questionable. Sometimes you wonder if that person really went through the education that is shown on his certificate. I understand I'm supposed to keep it short. I don't know if I should carry on or I should.
You can just take a minute to wrap up.
Ask back to you. So yes, we need to make sure that our education, which costs a lot of money and time, serves the future that we so much desire.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eunice, for those wonderful insights. Certainly, we will come back to the education question. I think it's the heart of our ability to create value and to enhance the potential and optimize the potentials of the youth, and to engage them in creations and activities that will yield them livable wages or livable remuneration to generate wealth. So I thank you for that. And now I will ask Ing Nano Puko to grab the microphone. You have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Carr. Greetings to Ambassador Ashimotin, the president of the Millennium Excellence Foundation, fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure this afternoon to share my insight on the topic, the frontiers of youth opportunity through innovations and scalability. I'm sure innovation is here, but yes, we all know that necessity is a matter of invention, and you can only innovate when there is the opportunity or there are necessities for that. And I'm sure we all agree that the patron or the life patron, Otumfuo II, has so much confidence in the youth, and that's why I think last year and this year he's given Ambassador Ashimotin the blessings to award deserving youth of our country who have risen above or gone against the odds to make sure that they make Ghana proud. What I would say is that indeed there has been a lot of education, but you can only grab the opportunities when you use it into practice. The practicability of our education, it is what is important, because looking at the statistics that was given by Ambassador Ashimotin, the continent Africa leads with respect to youth population, and it behoves on us that when you look at succession planning, we are going to be the next leaders of our world, because obviously if we are leading with respect to the youth population, we are going to succeed the current adult population, and it gives us great opportunity for us to make sure that Africa is ahead everywhere we go. Now, in order to be able to explore the opportunities and break the frontiers, I think it is important that there's practicability in our education, and that is why industrialized countries like Germany places more emphasis on technical education. You go to Germany, you have the technical universities taking lead roles or who are forebears in the nation building. And that is what we need in our country. And it gives me great pleasure that our current president, through the Ministry of Education, the Minister of Education, Honorable Matthew Kweku Prempeh, are giving much emphasis on technical edification, TVET, CODVET improvement, to be able that people come out of school and not to be chasing white-collar jobs, but they come out of the universities or the tertiary institutions or even secondary or second cycle institutions, and they are well equipped or they are in a position to create jobs on their own, because there is a tendency to have a high rate of unemployment because of a burden of opportunities in the formal sector. And if everybody, all of us are chasing the same jobs, then it creates a lot of panic. It creates a lot of tension, because everybody will then have to make sure that they wait for white-collar jobs. White-collar jobs are the thing of the past. In moving forward, we've all seen the necessity or the importance of technology. Yesteryear, when Mark Zuckerberg was creating Facebook or social media, little did we know that in this planetary pandemic, this is the first time we are facing a planetary pandemic, COVID-19, coronavirus. It has affected all spheres of life. It has affected the whole globe. And at this juncture, it is only through social media or e-business that we can trade, because now I sit here, I can send things to Professor Carr without having to see him. But yesteryear, we did not understand this. And little did we know that the coronavirus was going to open our eyes to technology improvement, or going to open our eyes on the necessity and importance of social media and technology. So at this juncture, I think I would urge all of us to rededicate ourselves, or to make sure that we support technology improvements in our country, technical education, and to be able to address not only coronavirus, because we don't know what is coming next year. This 2020 brought on board COVID-19. And in the midst of COVID-19, we were only saved by social media and technology, because then we could still do business as usual by ordering things online, Amazon.com. And yesteryear, most of us did not even see the importance, because I could just fly to America with Ambassador Shim Moulton and go and do shopping. But here we are still doing the same thing online without having to do the physical contact or to call. So necessity has always been the mother of invention. And I urge all of us panelists to brainstorm on the possible ways of making sure that we make hay while the sun shines, and we bring out ideas and bring out very pertinent and practicable solutions that will help the youth of today, so that in the years to come, the leaders of tomorrow, who are predominantly in Africa, from the statistics given by Ambassador Shimotin, will not be found wanting. And Africa will obviously find its place on the globe to be able to be the leaders. We should not always sit here for Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs to come out with innovations. Innovations should start from Africa. Civilization started from Egypt. And it now behoves on all of us, including panelists here, to make sure that the things of yesteryear are brought behind us, and now we rise up. What the white man can do, the black man too can do, and even do better. And let us brace ourselves that tomorrow we'll become the leaders, and make sure that there are more Mark Zuckerbergs, Jeff Jobs from Africa, so that the world can have its place. Thank you very much, and I invite all of you to share your ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for those wonderful insights. And certainly you have it right on the normal old ways of doing things. I would have flown from the Gambia to Accra, and most of all of the participants will be driving through traffic to get to some place for this event to occur. So certainly we cannot and must not ignore the importance of technology and emerging technologies, which is redefining work, which is redefining relationships, which is redefining collaborations and strengthening supply chain. Central to that technology, as you rightly alluded to, is youth. the emerging technology that is redefining and disrupting our ways is hugely driven and innovated by youth. So technology in itself is youthful. So you invoke Mike Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and among others. If we go back to the emergence of these billion, trillion dollar global companies that we all depend on today, the architects, the innovators were youth, were very young. They were in their teens, going to work with t-shirts and jeans over coffee to innovate. The beauty is Africans everywhere, youthful Africans are as brilliant and as creative and can do the same. And I completely agree with the insights that you have shared. But the foundation of that is education, 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 and the right government support and environment, as well as values and discipline and focus among the youths, because those youths who are at the cusp of global wealth and technology were very focused, very disciplined and hardworking, but more importantly, the support was provided to them, and it was easy for them to access financing and people to buy into their idea. But they also had strong, good education base. So you hit it, my friend. I will now move to our next participant, our next speaker, Mr. Thomas Baffy. Mr. Thomas Baffy, you have the mic, and take a minute to tell you who you are and what's your affiliation, so that the audience will know your background and what perspective you're coming from. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor, and thank you, Ambassador Morton. Yeah, I'm the CEO of B Systems, and B Systems, we have been in existence for 20 years now, and I can tell you that it's been a tough battle. When we started at that time, around 2000, there were no internet and there were no phones. If you wanted a phone, you have to go to Vodafone to go and queue before you can get a phone number. And if you want a fax, the same thing. So it's been a very, very tough 20 years. But now, for the youth now, all the groundwork has been done. Now we have internet. We even have internet on your phone. So everybody now can really, really start doing their business very, very well. Well, I put in some few things down over the years, my experience, things that I've gone through, is the idea, the individual you want to do. How enthusiastic are you about it? Because I've met a lot of young guys, they get the idea and they run into a hiccup and then they run. In order to succeed, especially in Africa now, you have to be very, very enthusiastic. But there's so many problems that you are going to encounter that sooner or later you will run away. You will stop and start another one again. You stop and start another one again. But all that I want to tell you that you have to persevere. Stay with it. If you know your idea is going to work, please stay with it. Don't run away from it. Because, for example, if you take Ghana now, Ghana is a developing country now. Everything in Ghana needs to be developed. Everything. So if you have an idea that is working, please don't run away from it. Just stick with it. Make sure that it's going to work. And I bet you it's going to work too. We started with an idea of giving IDs to all the banks. So that, for example, if you take your national ID, you take your voter's ID, the banks can verify. And we realized that this idea was good, but now we have facial recognition. Now we have IDs that everybody can present any ID at any bank, and then you have to be able to verify it. So now we went, I'm just going to go straight into the scalability part. In order to be able to scale your business, you have to also invent or innovate around it. We started from normal ID verification. We move on to facial recognition. We are now attaching AI to it. So you cannot be still, because as you are sitting still, other people are looking at your idea and also trying to develop faster than you. So those are some of the things that you have to be able to look at, that your idea, as soon as the idea lands on the market, other people are going to take the idea and run with it. So you have to be able to scale to other countries. And now my problem that I ran into was that when I was trying to go to the other African countries, I realized that I don't speak French. And then when you go to the Anglophone country, the Francophone countries, you are stuck. You cannot be able to do business there. So you have to be able to find somebody who is going to help you. So I also encourage the young guys who are also coming. If you want to do business in Africa, you have to look at the other languages also. If you want to learn, you can quickly learn, or you have to be able to recruit somebody that you can work with. Because if you look at West Africa now, we have about 360 million people here. So you have enough customers to scale your business to. So we cannot sit still. Learn the language, try to see if your product or your idea can be able to be used in the other countries. I know the 1 minute is not enough, but 360 million people are going to be your customers, especially if you're in West Africa. And I've gone from Mauritania down to Gabon. And most of the problems I always encountered was the language. So when I went to Nigeria, it went well. We went to Mozambique, then we had problems with Portuguese. So in order to be able to develop and move faster within Africa, you either employ somebody who speaks French or Portuguese, or you have to be able to learn it yourself. So please, the young guys, I would just tell you that be very, very enthusiastic of your whatever you are doing, and don't give up, because there are so many things that are being developed out there that if you take on this idea and you don't stick to it, you will run away to the next idea and the next idea. So if you need any more information, come, I will tell you my experience running the business for 20 years, and then we can take it from there. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for those insights. I'm sure the audience are taking notes, and we'll come back on the Q&A during the Q&A segment. I will quickly move to Skofri Yebua. You have the mic.
Thank you very much, Prof. Carr. I will share just this brief. In my line of duty as a transformational coach and a certified professional trainer, something that we have unearthed that I want to share with my young people. Something happened in Silicon Valley several years ago, and this is what I want to share. If you mention any name in Silicon Valley that brings you Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and everything, it is Steve Jobs. Just mention them. Any product of Silicon Valley in the last 20-something plus years. Apparently, there was a man called Bill Campbell who happened to be the fulcrum around which all these great men emerged, meaning he played the role or the services he offered was in the area of coaching. As a matter of fact, in our area, in this part of our world, or in this part of our continent, coaching is a new frontier that I will want to implore my fellow young people that it doesn't matter the idea you have. Submit, subscribe, or buy into a coaching session. When you also study Oprah Winfrey, she too has this woman called Martha Beck. For the past 20-something years, she has been in the quiet on the background, rendering coaching services for Oprah Winfrey. I can go on and on with President Barack Obama. So what you see them do out there and achieve a lot. There are coaches in various facets of their life who aid them and spur them up because they use very thought-provoking interventions to aid them to achieve the greatness that we, all the young people, pick them as role models and want to be like them. So it is mission critical. All the countries that you are seeing doing amazing things, go and check the greatness of their people. There are people called coaches behind seeing them into these greater success. Is expensive, but if you think it's expensive, then imagine Silicon Valley and the engineers and the innovators they are creating for this world. The last one I will add is when Mr. Beff was speaking, he made mention about how passionate you are with your idea. What I want to add is not even just passion. What I want to add is what is the why of the idea you have in hand. Simon Snake said that the why dovetails your passion, your purpose, your dream, and everything. This is why you can have Microsoft and have Steve Jobs in the same Silicon Valley, yet they produce two different outstanding products, meaning you want to buy an Apple because they have a solid why that says that their product is based on breaking the status quo. So we, the young people, one of the challenges that confront us is that the moment we wake up an idea, more or less like you are copying and pasting. But because you are not the originator of the idea, the originator has got a why to the idea he or she is carrying. That is why when they hit rocks, they still have the passion and the drive within to sail through. But because you copied and pasted, and you don't have a why connected to that which you are having in hand, when it hits the same quantum of rock, you run away from the dream. That was what I think Mr. Berfi and also Nana Poku mentioned. When you will run away, or because you don't have a why that is sellable. So I will encourage my fellow young people, let's go back and sit and look at the ideas we have. What is the why to which this idea even came to us? What is the why? What has been identified in our society that this why is to resonate with a solution? I'll end by saying, Oprah Winfrey said that if your passion, your focus, and your drive in anything you are doing is money, you will never have enough. You will never have enough. But if your idea, your dreams, your passion, and your drive for anything that you are doing is because of the people will take care of you, because they will buy into your services, they will buy into your innovation, they will buy into your idea. So I will implore that in as much as we see poverty staggering in our face, which makes wanting to pick breadcrumbs to eat easily, let's make our people the focus of that which we innovate and create. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for those insights. Now we will move to Dr. Riverson Opong. Dr. Riverson, you have
There's no sound coming through. Is it just me?
Yeah, there was a sound loss. There's a sound loss somewhere.
Sound is back.
Hello, Prof. Are you there?
This machine has gotten frozen.
Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we? Is Dr. Riverson Opong with us now? If he's not, then I think we'll move on.
I'm here, sir.
Good, good. So you have 1 minute whilst we try to get Dr. Muhammad to call back. So go ahead, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for the opportunity to talk to everyone here. I believe the earlier on participants have mentioned so much and covered so many areas that I want to also talk about. In the area of education is key. And as far as Africa is concerned, those of us who have had a chance to study abroad can compare the education system over there and what we have in here. And we all understand that we have to better it. And I also, as an adjunct lecturer at GTUC, I'm coming back home, I understand that even the style of lecturing from my end with other lecturers is a bit different. And one thing I also want to talk about is I think mentorship is something that we lack here. And I'm very happy with what Carson made mention of in terms of curator, career guidance, and then all that, and made an example with Oprah Winfrey and Obama and the likes. Currently this year, I set up a young mentorship program for young professionals in the oil and gas industry. And I have about, let's say 10 to 15 mentors, mentees that I mentor now. And it has been brilliant. And they can say how much they are exceeding in the area of expertise for those who work in the TALUs and then the rest. And one thing I also want to mention is talking about youth. Yes, we are the leaders of the future. We are the future leaders. And talking about startups, I remember when I came back to Ghana 3 years ago, I brought Hello Tomorrow to Ghana from France. I was the ambassador for Africa. And it was a bit difficult for the whole idea to be accepted. And I remember for the first time we wanted to organize the Africa competition here in Ghana, and that was never possible. I spoke with the government, I spoke with everybody that could help support the goal, but at the end of the day, South Africa took it up. We held the African competition in South Africa. A Nigerian startup guys won the African contest. We went to France for the global competition, and you have no idea, the African guys won. So indeed, we have a lot of experts and we have a lot of ideas as Africans, but the problem is the motivation. I mean, that I can say for a fact, the motivation to bring even a prototype down and to even scale up is the issue. So motivation is there, and mentorship that we have to look at. And then language, I'm very happy with the presentation talking about language. It's something that we have to look at for. I'll use myself as an example. If I knew French by now, I'll be a bigger more person than who I am today. COVID has come, and it has been a global pandemic, as it was said earlier on. I remember somewhere in March, doing an interview with UTV, speaking about the effects of COVID-19 on the energy sector. I made mention of so many things that is going to affect, but then to look at the socioeconomic effect, it has affected us, I would say negatively and positively. Now we are all here, people are here from South Africa, all over Africa, and I'm here from Ghana. And so e-movement is now the key. So e-meetings, e-shopping, e-conferences. I've spoken under so many conferences during this COVID, sitting here in my office. I don't have to travel to places. So we have to adapt to change, I would like to say, and then see the positive side of life in every situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Opong. I'm sorry for that little glitch, but I'm back. Thank you for those thoughts. Now we will have Clifford, Mr. Clifford Ittel, to take the mic.
Thank you very much, Prof, and thank you, Ashim, Ambassador Ashim, and everybody on the meeting. I must say that the topic itself gives us the direction at which we should proceed. I will identify just the two words, innovation and then scalability, because These are the two key words that I wanted us to look at. For innovation, the question is, why is innovation even important? And if you look at it, 4 issues come to mind: competitive advantage, maximum ROI, increased productivity, and then positive impact on even personal self. The statistics that Professor Carr gave us, 1.21 billion, constituting 15.5% of global population. If you look at the stark reality and you add it to the fact that we have rapid changes in technology, rapid changes in automation, even the workplace itself now has changed, you will see that there's a disconnect between the skilled young people we have and then those that will be needed to succeed us in the next century. So more than over 800 million people in total will not even have the basic skills needed for workforce by 2030. And that is a huge challenge. Now, so what essentially we're talking about is that we need skills upgrade. Then we also now have to focus on apprenticeship. And there's a need for brand positioning. When you take up a product, you have to make sure that it is positioned properly. Now, in respect of scalability, it is not every business, it's not every startup, it's not every product you are coming up which will be scalable. And that is what we have to let the youth know. Now, let me give you an example. There's a gentleman called Inventor One. He has built cars in his backyard, and he has even built green gas digester, which produces gas. Now, the issue here is, are these scalable? These are very innovative, but are they scalable? Now, what knowledge would you need to make them scalable? So these are the issues that we need to let government pick up. And we can have advocacy through the Millennium Exchange Excellence Foundation, for example, to lead in such advocacy so that we will get our youth aligned in most of these things. A lot of other points have been mentioned already, so I will not repeat it. Just to say that the youth is the fulcrum, they are the centerpiece, right, of progress if we have to move. And therefore, we have to harness all our resources in scaling up their skills so that they will be well positioned to take advantage of the various and the numerous resources that we have both in Africa and the world. I thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Clifford. Thank you very much. Now we move to Ross Dodd. Prof. Dodd, you have the mic.
Thank you very much, Prof, for this. I think so far a lot has been said about the youth and the opportunities available to us, and also the gaps that are remaining to be filled. Be it in skill development, in learning how to identify opportunity, and even to make use of resources around us, right, including the increase in technology, and science and the emergence of science. What I would add is, and I think it echoes what Madame Eunice mentioned earlier when she spoke, is on education, right? Because I don't think it's really lost on many young people today that the world is moving really fast, that technology is, is increasing and is changing, and that the internet is giving access to a lot of things. What really comes into focus, comes to the back of my mind is, how do I develop these skills? What are my opportunities? Coaching was mentioned. How do I access coaching? How do I get the opportunity to build critical thinking or an entrepreneurial mindset? If you ask me, one of the easiest ways is through education, because once somebody has been able to go through primary school and gone through junior secondary school and then gone through a high school, they have gone through a certain system that is a single system that so many young people go through, right? Even though there's still a lot of young people that do not get access, so many do go through it. So that is one other channel, if you ask me, of to develop a lot of these skills that we have mentioned and discussed here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rose. Now we move to Dr. Kester Quist Afitsi. And please forgive me if I do pronounce your name inappropriately. Dr. Kester is...
Yeah, okay. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Mahamadou, and thank you, Ambassador Morton, for giving us this opportunity to share our ideas and experiences. I've been engaged in activities that has to do with the technology sector. I'm a computer scientist and a software engineer, and I work within the space of software system development and cybersecurity. I've consulted for a lot of countries. I've worked in a lot of governmental projects, provide consultations for the different countries in terms of how they can handle their future in terms of skills and workforce and opportunities and stuff like that. So I understand the direction of where a lot of countries are heading towards and how they create those paths for their younger generation to pass, and how people within the youthful space also take care of or take advantage of different opportunities. One thing that people have to understand about innovation is that it's based on the individual's ability to identify an opportunity, seize that opportunity, and see how you can create the solutions out of it for people to believe and then consume what you are coming out with. Sometimes people want to wait till maybe somebody comes up with something, then they can build upon it or start something. No. Once you can identify a problem and you understand the solution, you have to make people believe in that, okay? And within our settings, I realize a lot of people also give excuses, especially within the academic settings, that we are not getting funding to do research, or we don't have money to do this, or we don't have this to do that. It is not always the case that you need to have money to develop your product and make it available for the market. Because when you look at Albert Einstein, you realize that when he came out with even the theory of special relativity, it took him a lot of years for other people to prove his theory that it actually works or not. So you understand that he invested all his money, time, and energy into the product. So that is what we also have to understand, that within the space of research, technology, and innovation, we have to take that lead in doing what we have to do to get the interest of people, funders, and other things to support the projects that we want to do to execute. And when you come to the African setting, or within our environment, even out there, there are lots of opportunities. There are a lot of areas that are untouched, and then we have the advantage to quantum leap. Why? Because we have a lot of people who have made mistakes, and then we can learn from their mistakes and do something new. So we can focus on the new technologies that we have to build and adapt that suits our environment. Let me give this example from one of the projects that I executed. You realize that there is this project that is going on in agriculture that has to do with greenhouse, that government is trying to roll out those projects and stuff like that. Now, my research lab, which is CRETAC, decided to take a different direction. We are of the view that, okay, the greenhouse is very expensive, and it's not all farmers that can afford the greenhouse technology. So can we come up with a different technology that will be better than what the farmers, the traditional farming that they do, that is cheaper than the greenhouse, that will produce more yields than the one that the farmers are doing, that will provide more information for them, which was very laudable one. So we decided to research into it, build our own technologies to support this thing. And it was very positive. The results that we've obtained from the farming that we get, we were able to monitor the open farm, use approaches that have to do within the greenhouse approach to get our result. And we guide everything with data science and then satellite technology, and we collect the data ourselves and we use it to work. So this is a very good example that you can see that we didn't say, okay, it's greenhouse, so we are doing greenhouse. We've identified a lot of mistakes and problems in the greenhouse, and within our settings, we look at the problem that also the farmers are facing, our traditional farmers, and we try to innovate and come out with a new approach where we can use to be in between and then maximize profit. So the youth can look at different approaches, different techniques that they can look at. When you look at smart governance like this, for instance, governance, that there are a lot of sectors that have not been tapped by government. Okay, for instance, can government be somewhere and understand what is happening in a district? So those are opportunities where we can build technologies to understand what is happening in the various districts so that we can do data-driven governance. People can feed in data of information in terms of whether roads, electricity, food, in terms of employment. All those data sets can be used to inform what is going on within that. We have also things that have to be in the sector of fintech. We have, when you look at fintech, there are a lot of opportunities that can be done in terms of mobile interoperability, integrating banks into other systems, and then youth can take advantage of that, develop these technologies and other things to work. We also have this mechanization and processing technologies, which is quite much more interesting because you realize somebody who goes to technical university that has done how to build a machine, finishes and want to go and work in a bank. There are a lot of opportunities. For instance, can I build a machine that can easily be used even without electricity, that can make how to remove the corn from the husk easily? So those are the technologies and innovations that the youth is supposed to be looking at. When you look at our fishing environment too, you realize that still they are using the canoe and they are more dominant. Those who are in the technical university, can they develop and innovate some of these simple water boats that can be used, which is safer, much more easier to use by these farmers, by these fishermen. So these are the areas and opportunities that youth can take advantage of. I've seen a lot of opportunities. I've trained a lot of youth that has taken advantage of these opportunities. And then around us, and even in other advanced countries, there are a lot of opportunities that are still being identified. Even as at last year, I'm part of the ACM Future Computing Academy fellows that are supposed to design the future of computing up to 2050. So, and beyond. So they are looking for now to 2050 to review what they've observed in the past through the research work, and also after 2050, what do we expect within the computing space? So we are looking at all those activities. Similar things can be done here. We can define our future and look at our needs and look at the things that we need that have to support us. So I will not talk about since I'm giving only 1 minute. So I will wait if there are any questions or whatever. I will do a follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Kester. I had to allow you to go beyond because you're touching on things that are at the heart of what the youth needs to create wealth and to be able to innovate and to scale the emerging technologies. And some of the things that you've mentioned touch into revisiting and disrupting curriculum and programs in the education ecosystem. We are running out of time, unfortunately. I mean, this is quite exciting, and I think we could go on for another hour or two, but we have a limited window with the Zoom platform. But we will be coming again, I think next week, around December 10. There will be a notice that will be shared with everyone for the second session or series of this, to continue this very, very important and timely and engaging insights from the line of highly experienced and capable speakers. I will quickly ask that the remaining time we have for colleagues to get back to us very, very quickly so that we can be able to wrap up this session without being kicked out by Zoom. I will ask Dre Swatson to quickly just give us very, very quick thoughts so that we can allow others to say a few things that have not been said earlier. Thank you. Dre, please.
Right. Thank you, Prof. Khan. And thank you, Ambassador Asha-Morton, for this opportunity for us to express our thoughts and ideas as youth for the betterment of all of us. Yeah, everyone has said a lot, like all the main points are found in everybody's point. And Dr. Kester said a lot, like it was everything about it. And I'll say the innovation with the education part, we should just start all of it again, because we should just start all of the education parts, because those kind of systems for people of a certain generation to work. But now it wouldn't work for us because and it hasn't really given us the opportunity to solve problems. So yeah, it will start from like how long or what will it take our leaders to rebuild all of this educational system again. So yeah, I think we should just start from the educational part. They should change everything or something, because otherwise we can't build on top and develop Africa.
Thank you, Dre. Thank you. We are actually out of time. We have barely 3 minutes. If Michael or Dr. Nuno can give us a 30 seconds perspective quickly so that we can wrap up. Michael, can you quickly do that? Michael Adeste or Dr. Awuru, any one of you.
Okay, well, I'm Dr. Rajan. Okay, good evening to you all. Very interesting conversation that we've had this evening. What I'd like to add before we wrap up is that one thing that limits us, the youth, is our inability to think out of the box and to dream big. And then we also surround ourselves with such negative energy. Maybe you want to do something or create something, but then someone will just say something bad about it, and then you just lose touch and then forget about your idea that you wanted to start. And don't look at what other people are also doing. If you want to do something in life, just do what you have to do and believe in yourself. Dreams come true. Let's dream big. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure whether we can go to the Q&A. We are absolutely out of time. So I will take the opportunity to thank everyone for this very insightful. Couple of things just came up that worth our reflection, which is education, the quality of education and its connection to preparing the youth for employability and for preparing the youth for the already happening fourth industrial revolution that Africa is not prepared for, but creates lots of jobs and opportunities. We must invest and revisit our education continuum. And as Dre said on the last point, we must disrupt the entire education system from to university. We must begin to change the ways we prepare the young people. And it's not only the certificates, issues of apprenticeships, the practicality, critical thinking, the soft skills, these are very, very important. Another emerging topic apart from education for innovation and scalability for the youth is skill development and digitalization, emerging technologies. Dr. Kester touched the heart of it where the jobs of the future are. This is in data science, in artificial intelligence, in neural networks, in processing, in mechanization, in agriculture, and livelihoods can be changed, work created, but the heart of it is we have to prepare the youth to move away from being consumers of these technologies, but producers. And for that to happen, the education and the skilling is very important. Also collaboration, language barriers for scalability. African entrepreneurs and youth must interconnect and think beyond the bounds of their countries. They need to reach out to other youths who are in the startups, in the accelerators, in the hubs, in the technologies, in the creative industry, and collaborate and partner to complement their competences for scalability. If language is your barrier and you are in a particular industry, reach out to youths in Francophone who are doing the same thing and collaborate and partner to scale up your businesses. We must look beyond our respective small cities and countries to broaden ourselves and see ourselves collectively as Africans. Also, youths of today must learn to be bilingual, especially the Anglophone youths. The Francophone youths tend to be bilingual, interestingly enough. They will endeavor to learn English, but the Anglophone youths refuse or hardly try and attempt to learn French or Arabic or Portuguese. These are languages to allow you to scale your innovation and business and to drive finance. So if you don't have the skills, technology provided for you in the comfort of your home to acquire at least basic skills to be able to communicate or to understand. Coaching and mentorship and finding role models was mentioned earlier as very, very important soft aspect, but critical, and for ideation and converting ideas into tangibilities that can drive value. Also, what came is also networking. And I would add on that premium, one of the speakers keep on invoking names of leaders of industry, Zuckerberg, Bloomberg, Bill Gates, etc. Youth should invest in reading about how these people have done it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you read, you can be inspired through the lenses of these people that you admire. Also, innovation. I think it was Dr. Kester that talked about the importance of connecting innovation to the social immediate needs of our communities. There's lots of opportunities connecting technology and social entrepreneurship and invoking what he didn't say, what I think he meant, which is frugal innovation. Frugal innovation is what can help African youths to innovate and create businesses that will solve immediate societal problems that are impactful, change lives, and allow them to create wealth. So the youth should be attracted to frugal innovation. Indians have done this brilliantly and fantastically. Also, the need for skills upgrades, continuous learning and training that are substantive and applied, not workshops, not these crazy certificates of entrepreneurship. You have to learn how to build things and produce things. We have to change our mindsets and our culture of production. And we have to also begin to see that there is wealth in farming. There is wealth in agriculture. There is technology that can attract you to the farming fields and create productivity to create wealth without the drudgery that our ancestors and our uncles have been through technology. I'm rushing here, but a lot have been shared. One of the participants touched on the importance of STEM as critical for the youths who are moving away from STEM, afraid of mathematics, afraid of physics, afraid of the sciences. The youth have to realize that in order to be counted in the productivity world and competitive world, we must not fear the sciences and mathematics. It's not for everyone, but overwhelmingly, Africa's youth should begin to be interested in sciences and in mathematics. part of the challenge must be fixed by our government and policymakers to ensure that we strengthen the teaching, not only in the sciences, but across the board, but more importantly, the quality of teaching and the manner in which we teach today. The youth of today do not learn in the manner and in the way where we, the adults, used to learn. They have a lot of opportunity. The youths are here, the teachers are here. We need to figure out how to disrupt that so that the teaching can be exciting and can be attractive to both the youth, because there is a connection of competence, capability, and mindset and enthusiasm to innovate, to create, and to build wealth, and to scale, and to provide jobs with what happens in the early days of the youth. Lastly, and I will ask to come in, is this is a big topic, and certainly we cannot answer all of it today. But I must take the opportunity to say that we have done justice to the day. Our speakers have spoken well, and I hope that this can be transcribed, edited, and shared widely. And then the next session, we will continue this very, very important engagement. And I would just add something that I just read on the chat, that the right mentorship in the early stages of life or formative adult years is very, very critical. We must have a paradigm shift. We must also showcase and encourage the youths who are across the continent doing things and need access to capital. The access to capital and investment to scale up innovations and to encourage the youth is not trickling down adequately and enough. So on that note, I want to say thank you very much for your participation, and I will ask Ambassador Ashim to come again to convey our appreciation to everyone and the participants. Ambassador Ashim. You have to unmute yourself. Can you unmute? We can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I
Yes,
think
we can
that
hear you.
this was a wonderful summary of what all the speakers had contributed. I think it was a brilliant session. I think that, like you said, we can have more time to deliberate on the topic that and the theme that we started off. There are quite a number of speakers who had contributions to make it. We're not able to make it this time. I think the next session, which will be the 10th of December, at the same time, we'll give them the opportunity to contribute. And of course, tons of questions. But I must say, I am very delighted that all of you participated, very well spoken, very enlightening. And I'm looking forward to meeting with all of you again next time, which is on the 10th of December. I thank you for your time. And I feel so sorry that some of you couldn't have the opportunity to speak. I see Dr. Lawrence Tete has just joined us. So you would probably join us in the next session. And again, wonderful to be with all of you. And have a good evening. On Monday, we're all going to go and vote. Let's ensure that we have a peaceful election. And whoever wins, we will support the leader. Again, Professor Mohamedou Kah, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing all of you again. Ms. Nyadu from Margins, Dre, all of you. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Ashim, and thank you, everyone. We, on this part of the continent, are praying and wishing for our brothers and sisters in Ghana a very peaceful and successful election that goes smoothly, and may the best lead Ghana, and may the best join the leadership of Africa to be there for the youths who are central. And I would pray for whoever is going to take care of the youths to be the next president of Ghana in the coming elections. Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful evening, And please go out and vote. Vote excited and peaceful. Good luck. Thank you very much. It's been an honor to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.